So at the meeting last night, they were talking about resentments, and I have some resentments. Quite honestly, I don't really think that I do. I don't have a lot of people that I get mad or angry at or anything like that. I tend to be pretty introverted. When I go home, I don't really have a lot of friends. I have my family that I hang out with, but I just don't, typically I'm not around a lot of people all the time. But my biggest resentment would be like my husband right now, just because, 3 years ago, when my heaviest drinking, of course, I did end up having to seek treatment to help out with it. I did have to go to rehab for 5 weeks. And when I got out, I had about 2.5 years sober, and then things started to slip and kind of fall to pieces from there. So, the first time that I had relapsed, my husband went and bought a breathalyzer, the first breathalyzer that we had. Because, he was like, I just want to keep you honest, so if things come up and I feel like things are just being a little bit weird, we can test you and see how things are going. And I was like, okay, that's fine, whatever. And then, just recently, with, I think my third relapse that I had, he was talking about putting a breathalyzer in my car. And, he's like, I can't stop you from driving, but, I can at least try and prevent you from drinking and driving. I'm going to put a breathalyzer in your car. And I was just like, wow, that's kind of extreme. That's a little over the top, but okay. And then he was also talking about how my children go to daycare, and my father-in-law, who is also in the program, actually owns the daycare that my kids go to. And they were talking about how, the daycare may start breathalyzing me before I can pick up my kids from school. And I'm just like, holy bananas, like, calm it down. Like, why are you just, like, gaslighting me with this? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we're just going from, like, one extreme way to the next. Like, holy cow. Like, there's no reason to take it that extreme and that far so quickly, I mean, to me, I don't feel like that there's it's not warranted. You know what I mean? Like, if I was doing it every single day, if I wasn't, taking a space in between, or if I was just constantly just drunk as a skunk all the time, I could understand something like that. But I don't know. I mean, maybe to me, because I think of it as like no big deal, that I relapse, or, I mean, I shouldn't say it's no big deal. It's just that, I don't find it as horrific as my husband is. I do accept the consequences. I do accept, what I do. I do accept the guilt and the shame and everything else to go with it, but I can't beat myself up for it, because if I do, I'll just be, even worse of a mess. But, I mean, he took it to a whole new level. I mean, like I said, he just kind of went from like A straight to Z, quickly. And, I'm just having a really hard time dealing with that, just because I kind of feel like I'm being treated like a child right away. I know before my drinking, I went years of drinking before it actually got to that point. This time it went like, okay, you've had 3 relapses, we're breathalyzing you, we're putting a breathalyzer in your car, you're being breathalyzed before you can pick up our kids at school, I've got an app tracking you 24/7, I know you're going to be, next it's going to be like blood tests and hair tests, and you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, oh my God, like, calm it down. Like, I don't need such a forceful, someone policing me all the time. Because when you're being that forceful with it, it makes me want to do it more, and that's just really building against my resentment. And I'm just having a hard time trying to see, I understand, yes, he's doing it to protect me. Yes, he's doing this to make me honest. Yes, he's doing this to make me accountable. One day, I'll be thankful that he's doing it, but not in such a fashion that it just blew up to where it is now. And I don't know, maybe it's the addict side of me talking like, I don't want to be treated like a child. I don't want to be treated like this. But, I mean, I do agree that there needs to be boundaries. I do agree that there needs to be lines that, once you cross that line, this is what's happening. I have to have some kind of structure and, to keep myself honest. But I just kind of feel like that this is just too much all at once. Like, within like 2 months, all of this. And I don't know. Like I said, I'm personally just having a hard time getting on board with it, because once again, I'm the one that's being patronized, and my husband's just being condescending, I guess, with some of the things that he's doing. But I mean, he has every right to. He has every right to be mad, because once again, I've drove around town with our kids in the car. I've put them in danger. I've, drank at work. I could, easily get fired, and then went back into the financial situation that we were in before. And like, I know that I have consequences to it. Like, I'm not saying that there are no consequences to it, because there could be some very severe ones as well. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just being childish and holding my breath, stomping my feet, and being like, I don't want to get on board with this. But it's just a lot all at once, like quickly. So resentments was a good topic last night. That really struck a nerve with me this morning and last night, because I talked about it last night too, and everybody just kept saying, like, don't worry, the trust will come back, it'll go away with time. But right now, I'm just not on board with the time right now. So anyways, it's a good day. It's a little cold today. Getting ready. I've got 2 days of work this week, and then I got 5 days off, so I'm really excited to take a break and just kind of chill out, reset, and relax. And I hope everybody gets a chance to be with their family this upcoming holiday. And I will talk to you this afternoon.